Welcome everyone to another edition of Talk Tissue. Today we're talking with Vince Reese once again from Cardinal Tissue. Vince, how are you doing today? Thanks again for joining us.
I'm doing well, Brian. I hope you are. It's good to see you.
Doing great. A lot has happened since the last time we've talked, and I just want to tell everybody that's watching that this Vince is our first repeat on the show, and we're grateful to have him again. A lot of activity has been happening with Cardinal Tissue since the last time we've spoken, and I believe it was 2020 or 2021. Either way, there's been a lot of excitement going on at Cardinal, and want to catch up on that. So why don't you fill us in on what's happened since COVID, basically?
Well, I mean, COVID was, just when you thought you saw it all, then the next day happened, right? So
Mhm.
the tissue market in general has been, rapidly changing and morphing ever since then. And kind of that's been our life at Cardinal as well, trying to, support the customers that we had, during COVID and get through that and through the container freight after COVID, and then the warehouses filling up with all the imports and just on and on and on. But it's been exciting. I mean, it's fun. That's kind of one of the reasons that we really love being in tissue is that it's kind of a river that's moving and you got to kind of stay up with it. Um, but we've noticed, the retailers have had consolidation over the last 20 years plus, and as they can continue to consolidate and get bigger and have different banners, right, then the converters and tissue manufacturers need to do something similar in order to be able to support their customer base.
Yeah.
And I think you've witnessed that with the Softex acquisition of Clearwater and other things that have happened in the market over the last few years are all aimed at sort of supporting that consolidation of retail,
Yeah.
customers.
Yeah, no, and as you mentioned, that's a good lead into why I wanted to talk to you. Roughly about a month ago or so, Cardinal announced the acquisition of Softex Paper, who has been in North America for as long as I can remember. And I do understand that the acquisition only is for the North American factories, correct? Not the
That's right.
not the international ones. Okay.
That's correct.
So yeah, what's been going on in the last month? How has that been going, that transition? How are the new employees and management and all that? How's all that going?
Great. I mean, we're really lucky to have a relationship with them. The Liu family, of course, has been around, as you mentioned, for quite some time,
Yes.
and we've been working with them for a few years on some things. Brian Smith is their plant manager of the Rock Hill Mill, and he's got a similar background to mine as well, with equipment installs. I mean, similar mentality. Culturally, I think we're very similar. So we've had a pretty harmonious relationship, I think, which led to the discussions around the acquisition. But we're excited to have them on board and lucky to be able to have that kind of stuff happen. It's all learning for us. I mean, we're kind of small and growing, and so M&A is a new kind of experience, I guess, for us that we're kind of working our way through.
Mhm.
But we feel very confident that we'll be able to have some synergies and efficiency improvements that will allow us to have better margins together, right?
Mhm.
And have better support of our customers as we grow
Sure.
together.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could definitely see some of the benefits having worked with Softex in the past and visiting their facilities. So they have one in Florida, right in Palatka, and they have one in Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is geographically close to you, but now you've built a southern presence in the southern United States. I'm assuming you're probably not done with the M&A part of your business, and there's a lot of different smaller converters that would probably, be interested in a team up. But as you mentioned, the tissue market consolidating, the same is happening with the converters and suppliers for the various industries. Um, how do you foresee that? Is that going to continue in the next couple years? What do you see in the next couple years for the tissue industry?
Well, I think you're going to see that consolidation continue
Mm.
in order to support, as you have your big three tissue suppliers, in your branded national brand guys, and then because of the equipment advances that have happened in the last 10 to 15 years, your private label converters have the same technology, in some cases better technology than the big guys. So
Yeah.
they're competing directly with the big three, really the bigger private label guys, your
Hmm.
Softex of the world and First Quality. These guys are really directly competing with the big national brand guys.
Correct.
And as that kind of gets compressed, there's things that come out of that for regional suppliers and support of some of those uh, customers that maybe are more complex, or more kind of a pain, right? To be able to try to you know get all the SKUs made and the different things that need to happen. So there's opportunity there if you're able to have the right equipment and the right footprint to be able to support some of that fallout, I guess you could call it, from the upper portion.
Yeah.
And as you kind of run down the funnel, the consolidation of the market, I mean, you see the suppliers, you know, uh, Next Gen and Legacy, and these guys are combining as poly suppliers and box suppliers, and
Hmm.
they're all having the same activities that are happening in
Sure.
order to support, kind of the bigger at the top end
Yeah.
retailers that have been doing the same thing and gobbling each other up.
Yeah. You're right. As the tissue demand grows, the consolidation has just grown along with it. And I also believe that we're going to see the same as you just mentioned. One last question before we log off here. What about what's trending as far as tissue products go? I think people want to know. I've seen higher sheet counts become more and more popular, maybe 1,000 sheet count. What's kind of what are the retailers looking for right now from the industry?
Well, I think on the private label side, the retailers are always kind of targeting whatever the brands is. So
Mm.
in tissue, you have a national brand Target for
Sure.
bath and towel in at least the premium and ultra premium categories. So as the brands maneuver to adjust their sheet counts, then you're going to see the private label guys follow that.
Yeah.
If you look at kind of post COVID, what happened with some of the national brands eliminating their double rolls and sort of bringing it into a more mega rolls on everything,
Yeah.
which is of course more efficient on the converting process to make, but they also kind of hide their price increases within those sheet
Correct.
count changes.
Yeah.
And then over the years, after, you'll see those kind of shrinkflation type
Hmm.
things where you'll go from a very high count to kind of down, and then eventually get to a place where
Yeah.
history repeats itself.
Yeah.
So kind of we're in that cycle right now. And I think, there for sure is probably a greater percentage of mega rolls in the market than there was, say, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I call it toilet paper math. I mean, the toilet paper math, whoever can figure that out is, going to
yeah.
be a genius. But yeah, no, I agree with you. The width of the rolls are also slightly shrinking. The sheet size is slightly
Yeah.
shrinking.
I mean,
But
I think the width part is been a long time coming,
yeah,
on your standard, in the US market, you ship rolls that the biggest roll that you can get on a container is, basically a 102-inch roll.
correct.
So if
Yeah.
you take that 102-inch roll and you start cutting it up into bath, your most efficient that you can get is having a 3.8. I mean, you
Yep.
basically gain about 3% efficiency by getting that extra roll. So I don't think it's as much trying to get less of a product out there, because probably your hind end doesn't notice that extra
Correct.
eighth of an inch, right?
Yep.
But the efficiency gets better.
Correct.
And because the demand's going up, everybody's trying to squeeze every bit of efficiency as they can out of all aspects, right, of
Yeah.
making a roll of tissue, so
Yeah.
that they can provide the best value product to the customer that you can give them.
Correct. Better efficiency at the mill, at the converting
Get rid
site,
of waste.
better price for the consumer, better product. So,
Yep.
Vince, thank you. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I just wanted to touch on, and congratulations on the latest acquisition of Softex. Look forward to seeing how that goes and hearing from you again, hopefully here in the future. Thanks again,
All
Vince.
right. Thanks, Brian. Good to see you.
See ya.